Have you ever felt completely gassed out after a long tournament day or league night, even though your fitness otherwise is pretty good? You might think the answer is more hours in the gym, but for many players, the first place they should be looking is their on-table practice sessions. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to tweak and change your on-table practice so you can power through those tough league nights. Now, this is the first deep dive on my series on the peak performance pyramid, and we're starting where it all begins, the single widest and most important layer, Level 1 sport-specific practice. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel so you get the rest of this series. Now let's dive in. Now, to really understand why sport-specific practice should be the foundation, you need to understand one of the most important principles in all of sports science, the SAID principle. The SAID principle. SAID is an acronym for Specific Adaptations to Imposed Demands. In simple terms, it means your body gets good at exactly what you ask it to do. If you spend all your time jogging, your body will become very efficient at jogging, but it won't magically get better at the explosive multi-directional lunging that table tennis requires. This principle is the scientific reason why sport-specific practice is so important. If you want to be able to loop more balls in a row without getting tired, the most straightforward path is to loop more balls in your training and build up that capacity over time. Remember, the act of playing table tennis is a workout in and of itself. This is the science behind why practice is so powerful. And to help visualize this, I use an analogy I call filling the buckets. Think of your fitness in terms of filling different buckets. Playing table tennis already pours a lot into buckets like your stamina, muscular endurance, agility, change of direction, speed, reaction time, coordination, cognitive training, and more. That's why it's the foundation. It's also why these specific qualities don't rank higher on the pyramid. They're getting a good stimulus from all our sport-specific practice already. But if playing is so great, why do so many players hit a wall? Because there's a big difference between just playing and training. So before we move any further, you have to be honest with yourself. Are you treating your club nights as real training, or are you just farting around? Because casual matches and endless open point play is fine for fun, but it does not prepare you for the physical and mental demands of a real tournament. So when you want to improve physically for table tennis, the first thing to look at is how you're spending your time at the club. So how do we fix it? Here are 3 concrete ways to immediately increase the physical payout of every night at the club. First, you need to swap out some of that casual hitting for some structured and intense drills. Find a practice partner who's willing to meet up with you and get to the club early to do drills, or hire a coach and fit some extra sessions in. Here's why this is a complete game changer. A well-designed drill allows you to crank up the physical payout of your practice time. Because the patterns are planned, you can make the rallies longer, the footwork more demanding, and the intensity higher than what you'd typically experience in a real match. When you consistently train at a level that exceeds the demands of competition, your body adapts. You build a physical reserve that makes handling the pressure and pace of a real match feel more manageable. Second, you can try making your games more demanding than a typical match. For this, I like modified matches. For example, you might play games to 11, but you have to use your forehand for every point. Or a 5-ball limit break match where the server is only allowed 2 strokes after the serve to win the point. If the rally continues past the 5th ball, the server loses the point. This game forces the server to make their 3rd ball attack count and to finish the point quickly. Now, it's important for me to be clear, I'm a strength and conditioning specialist, I'm not a technical coach, so the specifics as to what drills or modified matches you should be performing to best enhance your game will come down to you consulting with a coach or high-level players in your club. But the big picture lesson here is universal. For many of you, the single most impactful change you can make starting today is to swap just 1 or 2 of your casual matches each week for a session of structured, intense training. That one change will dramatically increase the physical payout of your sessions, and it's the secret to becoming more prepared for a long, tough tournament. But the physical side is only half the equation, isn't it? There's another energy drain that most players completely underestimate, which is the stress and pressure of competition. That feeling of your heart racing before a big match costs your body real physical energy. If the first time you feel that pressure is at the tournament itself, you're starting with a half-empty tank. So how do we prepare for that? Well, in my book, I outline a method called acclimatization training. And this is a research-backed technique where you purposefully introduce elements of pressure, stress, and anxiety into your practice, and this inoculates you and gets you used to performing under pressure. Here's a few ways to dip your toes in. First, videotape your practice matches. Just putting a phone on a tripod to record yourself adds a layer of scrutiny that mimics the feeling of being watched. For an even bigger challenge, you can live stream your match on social media for friends to see. Second, add some real stakes to your training. So make a bet with your training partner that the loser has to break down the tables at the end of the night, or loser buys lunch, or something like that. When there's something on the line, you're going to up the intensity and play with that much more effort and intent. Here's another tip. The next time you play a match against a player who's ranked much lower than you, instead of just taking it easy and fooling around, try using a point handicap so the pressure is on. If you take this approach, however, it's really important that you frame the request in a way that doesn't seem arrogant or dismissive of them. You don't want to offend them. Here's how I recommend approaching it in my book. Instead of just telling them that you want a handicap just because you're that much better than them, instead frame it as a personal request based on a weakness in your game. So you could say something like, "Hey, do you mind if I spot you a 4-point lead in this game? I've noticed I'm really weak mentally when I'm behind in points, and I really need to practice making a comeback." By explaining it as a way for them to help you improve, it shifts the focus away from the skill gap between the two of you, and instead it makes it seem like you're both working together on something. Now, for you, the higher level player, this provides a really good opportunity to practice winning from behind and building mental resilience. And this is a super important aspect of mental toughness, and it's going to get you ready for those high pressure tournament situations. Because remember, it's actually against lower ranked players where you're going to feel the most pressure because you have a lot of points on the line. If you lose the match, you lose a lot of points. So those are just a few examples of ways that you can introduce pressure into your everyday training. And when you do this often, you're not just practicing your strokes, you're practicing your composure. You're teaching your body how to handle nerves, which means you'll waste less energy on stress and have more left for your game. It's a research-backed method to build mental toughness and reduce your chances of choking under pressure. And when you combine this mental training with the physical training that is more intense, like those drills and modified matches, you finally create a practice environment that is going to get you ready for what you experience in the pressures of competition. Now, I want to add a quick note for the more advanced players who might be watching. I know I probably sound like Captain Obvious here. You're probably already in the club 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week. You're doing your drills, you're getting coaching, you're playing tough matches and all that. That's great. That just means you've earned the right to go on up the pyramid and to really unlock those upper levels here. But for the more casual players or beginning level players, I think it's really instructive to not miss this foundational level and really make sure you're squeezing all the juice you can out of your actual time at the club. That being said, you're still going to hit a ceiling eventually, and you might be limited in how many times you can even get to the club. So just playing more table tennis isn't even an option always for some players. And that's where the rest of the pyramid comes in. There's still a few crucial empty buckets we need to fill, so the rest of the pyramid does become important. If you want to get a head start and find out which of those empty buckets is your biggest weakness, take my free power profile quiz at the link in the description. It's the perfect next step. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel because next time we're moving on to level 2, where we'll discuss the engine room, speed, strength, and power. Until then, may the spin be with you.